Here are 5 common forehand mistakes you need to avoid. So I want you to go out on court, film yourself hitting forehands, review the video, and make sure you're not making these mistakes. Number 1 is waiting for the ball to bounce and then you pull your racket back. Super common, and it makes players late all the time, especially with balls that have a lot of spin or a lot of depth, balls that travel really fast. You can see that I'm waiting for the ball to bounce, and then it bounces, and then I pull my racket back. When the ball bounces, watch, then I pull my racket back. Makes me late all the time. This is what it should look like. As soon as you see the ball come out of the ball machine or come off your opponent's racket, you should begin the take back. And the take back is just turning the body, really. You just turn the body and let the racket go for the ride. So as soon as you see the ball, begin the take back. This actually is the reason why players struggle taking the ball on the rise, or one of the reasons players struggle taking the ball on the rise. Because an on the rise ball is a ball that lands very deep, and you're gonna hit it right after the bounce. Well, if your racket's still in front of you by the time the ball bounces, you're gonna be in a lot of trouble. All right, number 2 is taking the racket down twice. You don't wanna take the racket down on the way back. This is what it should not look like. You don't wanna hit like this, where the racket goes down and then down again. You don't wanna go down on the way back. When you go down on the way back, the racket has to stop in order to come back forward. What we want is it should be this. The racket should be up on the way back, and then it circles around. So the racket never has to slow down. The racket can just keep going. This is what's called a C swing, because you're drawing the letter C with your racket, or a circular swing like this. So don't take the racket down twice, where down, down. It should be up, and then in the back, it drops. So it only drops one time. Now, don't forget, if you're looking for people in your local area to compete against, practice with, or find a coach who's close to you who can help you with your forehand, use my link in the description, playercourt.com/2minutetennis to get 50% off when you join. Mistake number 3 is always hitting every ball super flat and not utilizing topspin. Some shots you'll benefit from hitting flat, whether it's an approach shot or a return of serve. There are other times that it's really great to be able to spin the ball at someone's feet when they're coming forward, a cross-court passing shot where it requires you to dip the ball into the service box, a topspin lob, or just normal ground strokes where you want some height to stay away from the net and you want that ball to safely come down before the baseline. So the key here is to make sure that your racket isn't straight up and down in the back, but rather the racket's closed below contact. Let me show you what this looks like incorrectly, and then I'll show you what I want you to do. If you film your forehand and you see that your racket is straight up and down in the back, that's what's leading to you having to swing very flat. We don't want the racket straight up and down. If it is, you'll hit very flat, which isn't necessarily wrong, but you need some variety. So this is what I don't want it to look like, where the racket's straight up and down, and then I go flat into the ball. And you can see like, oh, Ryan, that makes for a good shot. Well, sure, it does, but it's very limiting. Like, you can't do anything else with your shot. So this is what I want you to do. Practice closing your racket and then spinning up the back of the ball. So you can still use the ideas that we've worked on already, making sure that you turn right away and that your racket stays up when you turn. But now we're gonna close the racket face, spinning up the back of the ball. So now I can dip the ball. Let's say someone's coming to the net. I can dip the ball at their feet. So if another ball's gonna come out, there it is. So that I can get the ball to land around the service line. And that way the ball is low to them. Or I can hit a topspin lob and I can spin it over their head. So they come in and I can go up over their head and the topspin brings the ball down in time. Mistake number 4, not using the non-hitting hand during the stroke. Most recreational players I see do not use the non-hitting hand correctly. There are 3 things you should be doing with the non-hitting hand. You should be helping to assist the racket on its way back as a way of coiling so that you can uncoil. At contact, while you're hitting, if you were to look at video of your forehand, the non-hitting hand should be up above contact. I like to have it where the non-hitting hand is visible over the non-hitting shoulder. So if you're right-handed, when you're striking the ball and the ball's visible touching the strings, your non-hitting hand can be visible over the non-hitting shoulder when you hit. That's the second thing. And then last, I want you to catch the racket in your non-hitting hand when you're done. I always love the comment section when I teach that idea. Well, I don't see Roger Federer catching his racket. You're right. I mean, if an arm's broken, it needs a cast. If you don't have a broken arm, there's no need for a cast. If you're watching this video, your name is not Serena and it's not Roger. If you're watching this video, you're looking for ways to improve your forehand. And catching the racket and just holding it for a second is definitely going to do that. So the first thing is I'm going to show you what it should not look like. And I'm just going to let my left arm dangle, or my non-hitting arm is my left arm. And this is what I don't want you to do. I don't want it to just be down, like to your side. The next thing I don't want you to do is point at the ball, because players who point typically hug themselves. Point and go like this. They end up looking like they're in a straitjacket, and then the hips can't turn. So don't point at the ball. Here's what it should be. Turn with both hands. Then, at contact, have your left hand visible, or your non-hitting hand visible, over the non-hitting shoulder. And then I want you to catch the racket when you're done. For just a second. Hold it. You see Dominic Thiem do that when he practices. And I would love to hit forehands as well as Dominic Thiem when he's practicing. Turn with both hands, wave to the opponent, and catch the finish. Last idea. You can't make this mistake where you aren't picking an air target over the net on every single shot. Let me ask you a really simple question. What percentage of the time when you're hitting a forehand do you pick specific targets over the net? Air targets. It should be 100%. I'm not saying you hit your target. I mean, 100% of the time when LeBron James shoots the basketball, he's trying to get it to go in the hoop. Does it always go in? Of course not, but he's aiming 100% of them. You should have in your mind an air target. And to be really simple, the farther back you move, the higher you should hit the ball. And the more forward inside the court, the lower you should hit. If I'm up here, I'm going to hit the ball lower over the net. So let me just really simply just have an air target. I don't think there are a lot of balls left. So at first, I'm going to hit low over the net. My goal is to make the ball go within a foot of the net. This would be great if my opponent's coming forward and I want to give them a lower volley, or if I want to hit the ball really hard and keep the ball in. The next idea is if I want to hit the ball higher over the net. So we'll go medium. So I'm going to go a medium height. That was good. I think that ball landed right on the baseline. For some reason the balls aren't catching at the moment. There we go. That was a little too high. Let's see if I can get medium. There we go. So it's like I'm going 3 or 4 feet over the net. It makes it very easy to hit with depth when you hit higher over the net like this. All right, now we're going really high. This is great for a lob or just to kind of kick the ball up to your opponent's backhand if you want to arc it up like this, right? Your opponent probably doesn't like high backhands. So if you hit higher balls to their backhand, now they have to deal with a high backhand. So now I'll hit low. Now I'll hit medium. And now we'll go nice and high. That was a good one. And now we'll go for a drop shot. There are 5 mistakes that we covered in this video. First, waiting for the ball to bounce, and then you yank your racket back. Second, taking the racket down twice. The racket should only go down 1 time. It should stay up on the way back, so 2 heads are better than 1, 2-headed monster, and then drop down in the back to the hit. Don't go down once and then down twice, because then the racket always has to stop to come back forward. And against really hard hitters, you're gonna really struggle. Number 3 is having the racket too straight up and down in the back on all of your shots, leading to just flat hit after flat hit after flat hit. Tilt your strings down so that you can swing up with confidence. And the more you swing up when you close your racket face, the more that ball spins down. Number 4, the non-hitting hand. Don't have it down, don't point at the ball, which just leads to you hugging yourself and then your hips can't turn. Turn with both hands. At contact, have your non-hitting hand visible over the non-hitting shoulder when you review your video, because it clears, allowing the hips to turn and the racket to come through, and then catch the racket in your non-hitting hand, rather than just letting your swing do whatever it does. Go up to the non-hitting hand. It's also a way to make sure that the non-hitting hand was up when you hit the ball if you catch. And last, always pick an air target. You can vary it anytime you'd like, but the rule is as you move back, aim higher, and as you move forward into the court, you aim lower. Film yourself out on court hitting forehands. Review the video, and if you make sure you're not making these 5 common mistakes, there's no doubt you're gonna gain confidence, win more matches, and play much better tennis. This is Ryan Reedy from 2minutetennis.net. You got this.